Coach, with the focus on USF, what makes Byron Brown so special? You see his numbers, and what really jumps out also is his accuracy.
Yeah, he's playing at an extremely high level. And I think he's perfectly suited to run the offense that they do there. But obviously, his ability to throw the ball, as you mentioned, and I think the biggest difference in them this year and a year ago was just his ability to run the football. And the design runs for him, his ability to improvise, when a play breaks down. Really, really good athlete, a competitor. He's big, strong runner. He's not a quarterback that's going to slide. He'll try to run you over. He gets the hard yards and just really, really well rounded. Um, Runs their system extremely well.
Hey,
How
Scott, we
fitting.
got Scott, hold on. Wags just joined us. He has limited time before he gets on his flight. Wags, go ahead. You got it. Wags
I'm
is
really
stuck in
sorry,
Chicago.
everybody.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Was the first question about Byron Brown?
That is correct.
All right, my next question would be about Blake. What is your confidence level that Blake will be able to go against South Florida?
Yeah, I feel good. I think he's made improvement every day and starting to feel better and better as we go. And we'll get him out there and we'll do some work today. So feel good, optimistic.
So your thoughts on South Florida overall as an entire team, both offensively and defensively? At times, you take away the Memphis game, they've looked like the best team in the league at times. And they've improved dramatically from last year. They didn't have it probably the type of year last season that they wanted, but they've really changed. What are you seeing?
Yeah, really, really good, well-rounded football team. I think the biggest difference that I see, Wags, and I mentioned this earlier before you got on, was the quarterback play. It's been exceptional, and his added ability to run the football, whether it's scrambling or design quarterback run. And then I think defensively they've improved a ton. I think second year in Todd Orlando's system, I think he does a really, really good job. Really opportunistic and disruptive on defense. I think Alex has done a phenomenal job with his roster from a talent perspective, but I think he's done an incredible job of developing those guys and creating a culture in a time where that's not an easy thing to do. But he's got buy-in from his team. They play hard. They're well coached, and they're really, really talented.
So in terms of you, with one loss in the conference already, do you consider this somewhat of a must-win game in that two losses would be hard to get into the conference championship?
Yeah, you kind of have to look at it that way, right? It's just 5 teams, right, with one loss, Strauss. And
Correct.
yeah, a team with 2 losses is certainly not gonna get into the championship game. You wouldn't think.
And last but not least, I mean, I think the key for Navy obviously is get defensively. I think you've proven over the course of the season that you can score the points. But if you're going to win these last 2 conference games, it's probably going to be crucial for the defense to step up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna have to score points in these games for sure, and we're gonna have to play better on defense. And I think we've played well at times. Got to find a way to get off the field on third and fourth down, and that's been the Achilles heel this year. Even look at the game this past weekend. I thought we were pretty good on the early downs. I thought we were decent against the run for the majority of the game, outside of 2 long runs. But we've got to be able to keep things in front of us and not give up explosive passes. And against teams like this that spread you out, force you to make plays in space, you got to tackle well, and that's something we're gonna have to improve on a lot, going into this game.
And I'll just my last question would be 2-part. Number one, is there some players other than Byron Brown that really concern you on the offensive side of the ball, weapons? And B, senior day, can you talk about the importance of sending those seniors out correct?
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of concerns with their roster. There's a lot of really good talent around the quarterback. They do spread the ball around. There's no receiver that's got twice as many catches as anybody else, and so they do a nice job with that. The 2 running backs are really talented. They're averaging almost 7 yards a pop. And so the quarterback's a really good player, and probably a lot of the guys around him don't get as much credit as they should. But and defensively, they've got creatures running around. Up front, I think they're really good. They're active. They're really athletic. So it's going to be a huge challenge for us. Really, really talented. And for the second part of your question, Yeah, we've got a tremendous senior class, and it's a special group, special young men, some really talented players in this class. But um, we talked about it a little bit this morning in the staff meeting, just how important this week is for our guys, and these are guys that deserve to go out in their last game on a positive note. I certainly feel a responsibility to send them out on a positive note. There's no question about it. But it's a phenomenal class. It's a unique class. Great young men. You look at the class, and probably about half of the class is not playing significant snaps, but they're all bought in. They've all embraced their role. They're all adding value to the football team in one way or the other. So, yeah, really important that we go out and represent them the right way on Saturday.
Thanks, Wags. Hope you get home. We'll go back to Scott Wyckoff for two more.
Yeah, Coach, on that theme, we've told the story for several years now. Many of your current seniors, the Blake Horvaths, the Alex Teskas, the Heidenreichs, the Chapmans of the world. But what about seniors like Kenneth Hall? What does he mean to this program in a story that most people wouldn't really know?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories that people don't know. Kenny's one of them. Dylan Spilios. I mean, the list goes on and on of guys that have stuck to it, despite some circumstance, some things that were out of their control, whether that be injuries or they're just being down the depth chart a little bit. And it says a lot, speaks a lot of their character that they've stuck with it. This class started with 66, and we're gonna finish at 28. And so these guys fought through a lot of things. And a lot of people just don't know and don't see that, behind the scenes. But those guys, we got some great players in the senior class. But those guys, there's several others that we could mention have a special place in my heart because of the way that they fought and stuck to it and added value in any way that they could to our program.
Pretty fitting also for this senior class and their legacy that they're still writing their story, and they really have what is the future of this program in their hands in this last month of the season?
Yeah, I think it's really, these guys played a significant role in last year's success, obviously, Scott, but really, really important to them that they build off of that and that they leave, their own legacy. And as the class has done things the right way, there's no question about that. I'm sorry, Wags stole your question about the senior class, and that's a Scott Wyckoff question all the way.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks, Scott.
Tim Nolan.
Going off that from Scott Wyckoff, one of the other seniors, Nathan Kirkwood, nails a field goal at Notre Dame Stadium. He's been very consistent this year. What have you been pleased with the way he's handled his business?
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence in Nate. And I think I love the way that he's worked, worked in the off season leading up to this year and becoming more consistent, changing his body a little bit. He's got a stronger leg than he did a year ago. He's a guy that we trust right now. He's doing a great job, got a great work ethic. And he's, kickers are so important that they have confidence in themselves. And that's the difference I see in Nate, from a year ago. So, yeah, really pleased with the way that he's played. Really pleased with our kicking game, overall. We've been a little inconsistent with our kickoffs, but as far as the punting and our field goals, I've been really pleased with that part of it, Tim.
Teed me up for my next one. I mean, how impressed have you been with Jacob? He pinned 2 inside the 10 in one of the biggest games of the season.
Yeah, I think he's been outstanding all year. And I think you see him, he's gotten better and better as the year's gone on, but his ability to not just kick the ball, but to place the ball, whether we're directional kicking or we're trying to get guys pinned down, and also his ability to understand what the other team is trying to do. We got a full out rush, or on Saturday, Notre Dame brought up one of their gunners in as a creeper and added another guy in the rush. And he sees those things, and his ability to get the ball kicked quickly is exceptional. He's a really good athlete. He's a football player. He wasn't just a kicker in high school. You always like to have those guys back there, have a little football savvy to him. He certainly does that. But I think he's been one of our best players all year. When you're talking about, position specifically, what a guy's done and how well he's played on a consistent basis, I think he's one of our best players.
And what does it mean to you as a head coach at this program to have Navy on a national stage? Yet again, this weekend, you've got standing room only crowd at Navy Marine Corps Memorial. You're hosting number 25 team in the country. This is another prime opportunity for your program that it deserves.
Yeah, we're still, in November playing meaningful games, which is important for our program. And to get to do it in the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, against a ranked team on Senior Day, with a lot at stake, is right where we want to be. So it's a big deal to them.
Thank you.
Wyatt Kopelman.
Coach, you talked about how well-rounded the South Florida team is, but what do you think is unique about the system from others you prepared for? Of course, Temple had a great quarterback at Simon, Florida Atlantic with Veldkamp. What do you think's most unique about this one?
They're not the only ones that run this kind of system, right? But they run it very effectively. Offensively, they spread you out. They force you to defend the entire field. When you get spread out like that, and they add the element of the quarterback run, it can be problematic, right? Force you to make plays in space. They take what you give them. Then you add the element of the tempo and them going really, really fast. So there's a lot of problems defending this offense. And then you look at what they do defensively and the way that they're built. They're in the top 10 in the country and tackles for a loss. So and they play really hard, really athletic, very opportunistic, create a lot of turnovers. So that formula, right, the explosiveness on offense, right, the chaos on defense, it's a winning formula, and they're really good at both of those things right now.
You mentioned after the game on Saturday in South Bend how the defense didn't get off the field enough. What are you looking for early in the week from this unit to believe its energy and focus are where it needs to be?
Yeah. Well, I thought the energy and focus was where it needed to be, during the week of preparation last week. And the issue all year has been that translating into Saturdays. And I thought it did in a lot of ways. And it's funny to say this because it's hard to find positive things or things to be encouraged about after a loss. But you watch our front seven and the way we defended them for a good portion of the game on Saturday. I was really pleased with that. We've got to get better, more consistent play at corner. We want to stop the run. Sometimes you got to add guys to the box. And so you're going to have to be able to cover on the outside. And we've got to do a better job of that. I got to do a better job of protecting those guys at times as well. But you look at the game on Saturday, and it's kind of been this way all year. We get teams in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and don't get off the field. And that's a killer, especially in a game like when we had Saturday. We had opportunities that we didn't capitalize on. And then, a 3rd and 8 that you get 6 on becomes a 4th and 2. And then your ability to get off the field in those situations, we had a couple of those at a 4th and 3, at a 4th and 1. Where we just execute the call a little bit better. We're in good shape. So we've got to execute at a much higher level on a consistent basis. I thought the game plan was good. Really didn't second guess anything that we did on Saturday, schematically. But we've got to coach them with certain things better, and we got to make plays, and we got to do the things that we're coached to do from a technique and fundamental standpoint, right?
What's your message to the corners, as you mentioned, the thing that they can do better and just being more consistent?
Well, a lot of it comes down to just technique and fundamentals, getting lined up, getting your eyes in the right place, doing things consistently the same way. And, you've got some young corners there. You had a couple of sophomores playing. And so, these understanding where we're at in the game, understanding the situation, having awareness, understanding where your help is. Sometimes young players, we talk about being a 2 and 3 and 4 dimensional player. Sometimes they're 1 and 2 at best. And so we got to really get them to understand the big picture, what's going on around them, where their help is. And just, again, this is situational awareness, 3rd and 9, right? What are they trying to get to, right? So we've got to get much better there and more consistent.
Thank you.
We'll take another trip around. Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, what does it mean for your managers that have been with you and with these players for 4 years to also be honored on a senior day for what they've meant to the program?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think those guys do a phenomenal job. It's kind of a thankless job, but they take a lot of pride in what they do, and obviously we wouldn't be able to function without those guys. So we're all super appreciative of the work that they put in and all they do for a football team. Just as much a part of our team as everybody else.
How important in a game like this is the brigade, the unique thing that you have with the brigade at home when you guys are facing adversity?
Yeah, it's huge, and they've been great all year. Had a bunch of them at the game on Saturday, which I really appreciate, taking that long bus trip and braving the weather conditions, long trip back. I couldn't be more appreciative of the mids and the support they've given us this year. And I know it means a ton to our players.
And it sounds like you're pretty confident that the issues getting off the field on third down are things that these players, though, as you say, young, inexperienced, can fix, can deal with, and can turn into a positive as the season winds down?
I think so. I believe that, Scott. We got to run to coaching, and those guys got to take the coaching. And I really think our football team is yet to hit on all cylinders and peak. And there's been some really, really bright spots and things I'm really, really proud of. But we've got some deficiencies as well, and we got to get those things fixed and corrected, and fast.
Thanks. See you at practice.
See you there.
Tim Nolan.
Coach, another star for your freshman tackle, Malcolm Johnson. What did you like from the way that he performed against a really ferocious D front?
Yeah, I was pleased with a lot of what he did. And he's another young guy that's learning as we play, and I think he's getting better each week. He's Tim. I think he's got a chance to be an exceptional player here. I really do. But he's a smart young man. Works hard. He's conscientious. Like I said, his better days are ahead of him for sure. But I've been really pleased with what he's done so far, and what Coach Guillermo and Coach Lorne have been able to get out of him.
Today also being the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. For the Marines on your staff, what is maybe one quality that they've really preached to your players that's made your program better off for it?
Yeah, I tell you, Marines are different dudes, and you can tell right away if they're Marine guys. And the two guys we got on our staff or actually it's more than two, are phenomenal. I mean, they're exceptional leaders. The toughness, the mindset, the mentality that they bring to work every day, I think certainly rubs off on our players.
Lastly for me, Coach, you said it after North Texas, and while I wasn't in the locker room, I imagine the messages were the same after Notre Dame, that your goals are still in front of this football team. How reassuring is that, knowing that you can take care of some pretty important things this week and after that?
Yeah, very much. As disappointing as Saturday was, there's a lot of good things to take away from it, a lot of good things to build on, and certainly a lot of things to learn from, as a staff and as players. And the big question is, can we be better moving forward because of it, or does this set us back? And I don't think we got the kind of young men in our program that will allow a loss like that to set us back. So how much better can we get, going into this South Florida game? I think I know this team pretty good, and they're going to come out ready to play on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
Wyatt Copeland.
Coach, when you look at what this team's done through 9 games, what stands out to you about how it's handled success and now some adversity here?
Yeah, well, I think they've handled the adversity pretty well. Those are always the hardest things to handle, right? I think if you look at the success early on in the season, the first 7 games, I think it was still a really, really humble group. I don't think it was a group that was feeling itself in any way. They knew that we had a long way to go to accomplish some of the things that we wanted to accomplish. And I think we've taken every game and hopefully learned a little bit and built, whether it be a win or a loss. I think sometimes the losses are a little more eye-opening for your players. But I think they really understand the potential that we have. They understand the capability gap that we have right now, and what we need to do to close that gap. and that we're going to have to close it moving forward to have a chance to win any of these games left on our schedule. So I've been pleased with the way they've handled things. Wyatt.
What gives you confidence about your defense's ability to regroup, especially now that you've had a couple of days to transition into this week?
Yeah, I think the work ethic, the way they attack every week, I think they're hungry. I think they know we're real close to being a good unit. I think they're all sharing the same frustrations and disappointments that I do about how we played at times and the result on Saturdays. And we got to get stops. We got to get takeaways. We can't give up 30+ points in games and expect to win. We just can't do that. So, but it's a good group. I mean, it's a coachable group. They want to be good. They're hungry. They put in the work. They've got a lot of pride. And I think it bothers them as much as it bothers us. We don't perform to a certain standard, Wyatt.
And how would you sum up Braxton's performance with how he led the team on drives after drives and move forward in his development now?
Yeah. I was pleased with Braxton. I thought he did some really good things. I think the one thing that probably wasn't great is running between the tackles. You got to fall forward on some of those. You got to find a crease. But man, he's an exceptional athlete. Thought he made a couple of exceptional throws. Corner route to Eli on Saturday. Another ball to Chapman that got dropped. And you see his athletic ability. When he gets out in space. I would like to see him stay on his feet a couple of times. Had some big play opportunities where he kind of stumbled and got tripped up. But no, I was pleased with his demeanor, his mentality. Didn't think the moment was too big for him. I didn't think his nerves got to him. And he wasn't perfect on Saturday, but I thought he did some really positive things that we can build on.
Good luck this week.
Thanks, Wyatt.
Anyone have anything else for Coach? With Wags here, I'm assuming there's no seventh question. Oh, the Wags is still here. Did your flight get delayed?
I'm on my flight, but it's a little noisy. I better not ask anything.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
That's okay.
Hopefully I don't get stuck in Albany.
Nobody wants to get stuck in Albany. Sorry for the folks in Albany. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.